Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Inglis, and welcome to Let's Talk It Out. This is the very first episode of Let's Talk It Out, and today I have with me my friend Amber Rose. That is not her real name. That is not her real name.
That's what you call me.
Right? So, Amber, let them know about yourself. Tell them how we met.
Okay. I am 24. I'm Haitian.
Hey,
We met.
those.
We met at work when we started my first job at a retirement home or whatever. And
a retirement home or whatever.
Yeah, that's in my past.
We don't have to go there.
We don't gotta go there.
I don't want to go there. We should never go.
Go there. Why you gotta?
Okay, go on.
So, and I'm in nursing school right now. Hectic schedule, paying off, and that's pretty much what I could think of myself off the top.
So I'll give a little more insight. Amber and I did meet at St. Andrews Estate North.
You don't need to
South
shout
Florida.
out.
I'm not trying to shout out. It was an okay time. We had fun, even though it was, we had fun.
We did have fun. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's where I met her. And Amber came in 2 years after me. I worked there for 4 years, and I think Amber worked there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I trained you for 1 day, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You trained me, and
on your second day?
Yes. No, it was the third day. I remember because I thought to myself, I was like, dang, why she so mean? She really don't like
I was just about to ask you, what was your first impression?
You was like, I can't touch anything. You gotta do most of it yourself. Da, 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 da. And you left it at that, and you're just chilling. You was over there talking to people. You was over there just. And I'm not even gonna lie, when I became a trainer, girl, I did the same.
Especially on the third day, we'd be like, listen, you got one more day of this joint, and you don't got it by now.
When it was 4, we couldn't do anything past 4. But when it was 3 or 4, oh, girl, it was smooth sailing. We was like,
yeah, you on your own. You got it by now.
You should have it.
That's facts. But I remember when I was training fam, and when I first started out at shout out to all the people who work in retail, shout out to all the people who work in restaurants, because especially when you got to carry the trays and do all of those things, people don't do that no more. People don't really carry the trays. But we were out here carrying the trays 8 tops. And sometimes when it would be big parties, we had to carry 13 tops.
14 tops.
Oh my Lord. And
imagine. I was about to drop a glass. I would still drop a glass.
Yo, I broke so many glasses in that place.
What?
Broke so many glasses in that place. It's crazy. But it was a time. And I'm not gonna lie, working, especially with older people, serving older people,
girl,
that's the greatest lesson in patience.
I still work with old people because I got used to it. But man, it's always a struggle. You can't say certain words, and it's not stuff you would think would be a problem. I remember when it was you can't say guys.
Yeah, guys. I was like, what is up with
guys? I was like, why? What's the problem with guys? Oh, the women get offended, and in their day, you couldn't say those types of things. I said, okay. And then I would just, do you guys want any? It was like, no. I was like, so it changed to anyone. Now when I hear people saying guys, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, honestly, it still messes me up today because I know in my regular friendship, that's not even a thing. But like when interacting with the older generation, it always used to mess me up. Like, how are you guys? I mean, how is everyone? I always used to mess it up. Like, how are you guys? And I'm just like, can I just? Y'all just are too much. But I understand it. They from a different time.
Different time.
And yeah. But really, your first impression of me was, so when did you like realize like I wasn't mean? I was just like trying to do my job, and I actually was kind of okay. Like, when did your first impression change? And then I'll give my first impression of you.
A few months after.
Dang.
No, because we never really talked.
That's true.
So it took a few months. So it wasn't until like the only person who would really talk to me, it was two people who really talked to me like that. And then like I was like not sure how everyone else felt about me. I found out later, but I wasn't sure at that time. Like, you know, you have that feeling, and it's like sitting there right there, and it's like, well, maybe you try to give the benefit of the doubt, but you kind of already know it. So it was like I was walking around with that type of feeling the whole time I was there at first. And then when I started getting better at my job, it was like some people would just ask me like, well, why do you always run home? And I'm like, I didn't know it was a thing not to run home.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So I just started staying back, and then it wasn't until I started really having conversations with people where I just realized some people
Like, oh, Amber cool. Amber mad cool. Like, yeah.
So
but that is true. My first impression of you though is like you were good, like in training, because you know you would and you became a trainer later on, like in working at Sam. And then in training, you would always be like, okay, I don't know if this person gonna make it or whatever. But you were good in your training process. And I never had like anything like legit. I was just there, came, did my job, and in the beginning too, just like you, went home, and then it's like people warmed up to you, and then it's like, okay, she's actually okay, like she's actually cool. But then it did take us a couple of months for like us to like really vibe. And then once we did vibe, and then when Ginny came along, it was just like
took off.
It was it. That's all we needed.
It took off for real.
It really did take off. And then break room convos were lit. We used to go out like after work, sometimes to Chili,
brunch,
brunch. Like it was a time. It was a good old time working at Stan, and I missed you guys sometimes. I really do. I think about it and I'll be like, oh.
I miss y'all too. I was looking at old videos of me and Jenny playing in the parking lot, me and you taking pictures.
Oh my gosh, you guys have the video of when y'all went to Walmart and
is it public?
Public. Oh my gosh. Yo, that video
Amber, you're exposing us.
No, that video is still so funny though. Like it's so funny. But yeah. So that's that story, and that's like our first impression of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about like our club story, but I'm just like, let's not even go there. Let's not even go.
First of all, Casey, you are probably one of the people who have so much videos.
I have
of me. I think you probably have the most videos of me out of anybody outside of my family.
Yo, I have a lot of videos, but I'm never gonna put those in. That's just for me. Didn't I send them to you though?
Memories?
Yeah.
Some of them. Like one or two.
Oh dang.
I'm pretty sure you got more.
I do have more. Let me know if you want them.
I'm afraid to ask for them.
You're gonna be looking back like this was
what? I still look at that video and cringe. Like, oh my god.
Why? I don't know, cause like I just embraced all the mess that I did back in the day. Like, I'm just
That's
like,
true.
that was the mindset I was at.
Yeah.
So, like, what can I say about it? Like, you know,
Like, this is a time that we wanted to be rebellious as much as possible. I mean,
yeah,
we're still a work in progress anyways. So
honestly, like, that's where I was at in my mind. Like, and let me tell you something. I was like singing on the praise team in them times at my church. I was the girl, you know, I was in church, but there was this thing in me, like growing up in a Christian household, growing up
and that
like,
was my problem too.
yeah, and like a Seventh-day Adventist household, and it was somewhat strict. Like, I kind of wanted to experience those things. Everybody talking about this a good time, this what life is like, and this is
Like,
how
and
life
then
is
you get
fun.
there,
And I
and
don't know about that life.
yeah,
I'm trying
you
to
get
see
there,
that
and it's
life.
like, wait, who y'all talking about this? Y'all talking about that? Like, I
Can't
want,
relate.
I want to live on the fast lane too.
Exactly. And then you
Well,
know,
I can't relate to any of my friends. All I could do is sit back and laugh. But girl,
yeah. But you know, God had to pull me back. God had to be like, yeah, stop right here before you go too far. So, you know, but that's what I kind of wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk, my first question to you.
mm-hmm.
In childhood, what was the spiritual environment in your home? Like, what was it like growing up? What religion did you guys grow up as, or religion did you practice at home and stuff like that?
Okay, so we grew up in a Christian household. My parents were actually Catholic
Mm-hmm.
before they joined their evangelistic Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a Haitian church, of course. And my mom is a very, very spiritual prayer warrior. She's my prayer warrior for real. And my dad was the complete opposite. He just wanted for us to grow up in it, but he didn't want to
Enforce it.
particularly enforce it. Well, no, he was like, my mom was the one who was in the do 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 do. Get up, get up, get up. Hey, get up. It's time for church. Da, da, da. It's like, and then my dad was more so like, he's rolling out of bed at 11 o'clock, not
Oh.
really like caring. When I was little, my parents went to church, like we all went to church together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, we didn't go to church together, but me and my mom went to church, and then my dad would meet us at church. He wouldn't go to Sunday school, me and my mom would. So it was always like that. And my brothers went to church with my godmother. So when time went on, they stopped doing kid stuff at my mom's church. And mind you, we were in church Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, and
Mine was
sometimes
running
Friday for
Friday.
revival. And every single time I was just like after school church, special event church, something church. Well, they stopped doing a lot of the stuff for the kids because the guy who was in charge of the kids ministry, which he is also a commissioner for North Lauderdale. Hey, shout out to him. So he
Shout out to you, whoever
I
you
know.
are. Mhm.
um he actually started doing something else, and I guess he left the church, or it was some kind of mixy situation. And so my mom was upset because it was like all these kids in the main church falling asleep, not paying attention, all this stuff. So
My mom's like, I'm gonna start a Sunday school.
no, so one day my mom was at home and we were getting ready for church, and she just stopped. She said, I was like 9. She was like, I just want to go see, I just want to go see Pastor Mark and Miss Joy, and let's go to church. Let's go to their church. That was my Miss Joy's my godmother.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. And this is when my brothers had already left and went to college. So they were away already.
Mm-hmm.
And we went, and I went into the kids' room, and I saw that they had like stuff for kids that kids would love. And I'm like, this is such a, like, from going from a garage that Haitians just put together and they pass you some snacks to like having like a literally catered to kids type of thing. It was just like so different for me, and I just like liked it. I was like, I like the fact that they, so I had a good time, even though I kind of felt weird being there.
Mm-hmm.
Just due to the fact that, like, I don't know, I felt like I was the only, like, black kid there, but I wasn't. I wasn't the only black kid, but I kind of felt that way a little bit. But I didn't care at that moment because I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's
I like it here.
that's something light. That's something I can get over. And so they went. We were leaving, and my mom was like, "Oh, I had such a good time." I was like, "Me too." And I was like, "I want to go back." And she's like, "Oh, you do?" She was like, "Okay, well, go tell Miss Joy." And I said, "Okay." So got out the car. I ran to her. I said, "I want to come back."
So I want to come back to. Was it like a weekly thing, or did they have it like
She
during the
came and
week as
she picked
well?
me up every single week. Wednesdays, Sundays, Sunday nights. Sunday in the morning, Sunday nights. She would come and drop me off.
That's awesome. So that's like your spiritual foundation. It's like,
So I was like, happy that I was there. I was happy because of all of that. So literally my mom was always working and stuff. So I always, like, if I wasn't home alone, I would be with Miss Joy.
mm-hmm.
So
That's awesome. So did
yeah.
they do like Bible stories, or was it like playtime? Not
It
like.
was Bible stories. So it was different, like they would have an activity to go with the Bible story.
Mm-hmm.
Or they actually had this thing because the Nazarene church, I really love the Nazarene church, because they had this quizzing. It was, I forgot, what is it called, quizzing? But it was just like a quizzing competition that they would have between the different Nazarene churches in the district and in the state, and then nationally.
We
And
call that
so,
Bible Bowl in my,
oh,
yeah. It's like
so
we had to learn a part of
we
the
had to learn. Yeah, we had to learn a chapter. I remember, I wanted to learn. I did two of them, and I did two of them, and we were supposed to learn like a different chapter, and then we would have these cards, and then we have to flip which one was the answer. We had, like,
Bible.
we would repeat the question twice. We have to flip over the card to see what we answered, and then they would, like, if you got a certain amount right, you continue on. If you didn't, you stay there. But
Mm.
yeah,
Do you remember what chapters you did?
yes, Matthew and Acts.
Mm. Okay. Not
Um,
bad ones.
Yeah, it's not bad one.
I remember we did
I remember
Revelation.
I learned like and it was like they would keep it like in rotation because of course the kids will move on to like teen stuff or whatever. But like they would have the different rotations, and they would like usually do Matthew, Acts. I don't think they did Revelation though. They did, if I'm wrong, sorry, Genesis, Judges, and like they did like the Kings or um the book of no,
Genesis is long though.
yeah,
Oh,
Genesis is long. I'm trying to remember. They did do Genesis. I know that. But I'm trying to remember the other. I'll figure it out later.
Y'all minds are young. Y'all got it. Y'all brains are sponges. You could read.
Right?
Oh my gosh. But do you remember, did you guys win that year, the years that you participated?
Oh, I think I was the only kid one year. Or like the last few years, I think I was like the only kid that was participating because everybody was just slowly becoming teens. I was one of the younger ones. So Axe is the last one that I can remember participating in. And girl, I didn't move on nowhere. That's why I was laughing. I tried though. It would just be like, it would just be the little things, the little details that you would miss. It was like,
right, and that's exactly what the question would be on. It's that little detail that you forgot. That's what the question would be on. And you'd be like, oh my gosh, I know it.
Yeah, like I was just one or two away. Are you kidding me?
It's oh, we placed second. I think I did Bible Bowl twice, and we placed third and second, I believe. I don't want to mess that up, but I know I got a plaque, and that one is like for second place. But it was the book of Revelation, and
That's a heavy book,
right? The amount of symbolism,
and that has a lot of detail because the symbolism, like it's one. I mean, a lot of people don't like Revelations, but I kind of do.
it's like a movie.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. I've liked it since I was a kid. That's exactly why I liked it because it was like a movie. Like you have to picture, you have to put the picture in your mind.
Like when you see, like when they talk about like the scrolls and they talk about the candlesticks and all of those things, it's like, and all the things are gonna happen and fire and brimstone. It's like whoa, 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 whoa.
It's a lot.
Whoa. It's a whole lot. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. But I'm just glad because at the second time I did it, I was tired and I'm like, oh, I'm aging out of this next year, so y'all can't catch me next year to do this.
Yeah, I think it was like only 3 years you can do it. It was like 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. And then 6th grade, you went to teens.
I think it was a little older for us because I think the last one I did was at 16. Yeah, I was turning 16, and I was just like, yeah, this is it for me.
I'm
This is
good.
where it ends. But did you always believe that God was real, or like when was the first time that you know how people always talk about God? I grew up in a Christian home and like, with the Bible stories and everything, but I didn't really believe fully in his truth and in his power till I actually experienced him for myself. So I guess the better question would be, when did you experience God for yourself and like it became true to you? Like, oh, God is real. Like God is real out here.
That is a long story.
We got time. We got time.
When I experienced that God was real, of course, you see your mom praying, you try, you hope and wish that God is real. At first, I was like, I don't know, because I keep on wishing for this puppy and he ain't come up yet. When I was a kid, like, I don't know, yeah, this puppy ain't come to this doorstep yet, and everybody's wishing for a dog, they get it. I don't get it. Why God not listening
And I'm
to
praying.
me?
Did they pray, God? Did they pray?
Yeah. Did they pray?
But they got a puppy.
And so they my mom was going through different stuff at the time, and I kind of felt like, in childhood, my mom was working all the time. My dad had went away to go work in other parts of the state, and my brothers went off to college. So when my mom wasn't home, it would just be like me. And my mom would try to find places for me to be or people to watch me. She would ask for people to watch me. So the first place I went to was my my dad's first cousin's house. and she had a whole bunch of kids. It was 6 kids at the time. It was 6 of them, 5 girls and 1 boy. And he was born after, like, a little after I was staying there a lot. So I would bounce from her house to my grandma's house. My grandma's house. I have 8 godmothers, by the way.
That's impressive.
I'm not even going to try to explain it. From their house to my other godmother's house that lived behind me. So it was just always me bouncing from house to house to house to house. I remember I had this red bag and I hated it because it always meant I had to leave the house. I had to make sure that my school stuff was in there, like my uniform was in there, and I hated it. And so my cousin, and then time to time, my cousins would come to my house to watch me at night because my mom was working at night and during the morning.
Okay.
And my mom would pick me up in between her jobs to drop me off to school if no one else could do it. Usually when I was at my grandma's house. So, I always felt like I didn't have anybody around me. And I felt like that set the foundation to cloud my judgment a little bit.
Like feeling alone?
And I always, like, felt alone. I kind of felt empty, like, no one's around me, but I'm trying to pray to God, but then I'm going to school and I'm getting bullied. They're making fun of my lips. They're making fun of my weight.
Let's talk about the lips that everybody paying for now. But go on.
And they were making fun of me, and I felt like, the chubby kid that everybody just wanted to make fun of. I could never forget, and there's this boy, and I still can't stand him to this day. And this dude, like, had dirt under his fingernails, and he walked up to me and he wiped it on me.
Wow.
He wiped it on my t-shirt. And just with all that, and I'm telling my...
So what was the suspension? 4 days or like for fighting?
But my mom, I didn't want to get in trouble with my mom, so I'm telling Miss Joy about it, and then Miss Joy's like, well, just pray for them and just tell them God bless you and all this stuff. And I'm like, you're not getting it.
Like, you want me to be Jesus?
I'm literally like, you're not getting it. I'm going through a lot. Like, she wouldn't drop me off home. She would drop me off at my godmother's house. She would, like, I remember seeing my mom, but then I didn't remember seeing my mom. One year, my mom had to take a year off because I had started doing bad in school. And it was the best year of my life. Next year, I went back to bouncing. And it wasn't until my brother came back home was when I was able to, like, really just stay home. So that was around middle school when I was just able to stay home. And just going through middle school, and you go from, like, the chubby kid to I did a big growth spurt, and I became the curvy girl. I literally been looking like this, and anybody who knows me before, like, high school or even the beginning of high school will tell you I've always just been tall, shaped like this.
Hey, what's wrong with it?
And so when I was in middle school, of course I had my friends, and my friends are, like, grew up just like me, praying moms, all that stuff. But then I stood out because I was curvy. I was, I was walking to and from school. I felt, everybody kind of desired me. Yeah, I had some pimples, but whatever. That was nothing. So then you start getting the attention from stuff outside of what your norm is. And that's where it went wrong, was because I was feeling satisfied by that attention that basically became a distraction. I was more so worried about what boys were thinking about me rather than my school, I always had stuff I wanted to do in the future. I wanted to be a dentist.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do dentist stuff,
I
but
remember you were working in a dental office for a time, no?
no, it wasn't dental office. We're not gonna acknowledge that office.
Okay, let's not
We're
talk
not
about it.
gonna acknowledge
Go
that.
on, go on.
That's the other side. So, I just was going through the motions and stuff, and it wasn't until I specifically you get on you start your friends all got MySpaces and stuff. You get on hop on MySpace and all that stuff, and then that's when I met somebody and we decided to meet up in real life, and he was supposed to be young like me. And he was young but not like me, and I'll go into further detail. I was 13 at the time, and we met each other at like Galaxy Skateway, girl, the hood. And
Broward.
girl,
Is that in Broward? Where is that?
yeah, it's North Lauderdale.
Nah, yep, okay.
Yeah, there's two actually. There's one at Dayton. I think Dayton.
I
If
don't
I'm not
know.
mistaken,
I've never been.
but North Lauderdale was the one. Like
Mm.
down the corner from my. And then at the time, I also had a friend in the neighborhood who was older than me that I was hanging out with. And we was kind of built the same and stuff. Like we literally could share clothes if we want to, but I was just a little more curvier than him. And so she's in high school and I'm in middle school, and I'm thinking like, maybe I could, be grown like her. She's over here meeting people and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, well, it wouldn't hurt for me to do it too.
It'd be like that, and the youth would be like that.
Worst decision. So I would literally lie or sneak out to go see him. And one day he was like, well, I don't want to go to Galaxy no more. I was like, well,
Where are you trying to go?
and he was like, oh, I'll just have somebody pick you up and bring you to my house. So then that's when I started going to his house, and it just became a very toxic environment. I found out that this dude is 17. He had a kid. He was still involved with his baby mama, who was like 17 too, maybe 18. And she was texting my phone.
What?
All kinds of foolishness. Yeah, I don't really tell this story often.
And you were 13 going through this.
13 going through this. And I'm like, why would you do that to me? Da, 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 da. And then it just became like arguments. And then it finally just became physical. And I'm like, it wasn't until it became that. And I was accepting it, but then my family started putting two and two together. And at the time, one of my brothers was home, and he was like looking for me one day when I had snuck out. And he started looking for me. My mom came home. They saw it was a whole bunch of sheets and stuff under the cover. I wasn't really there. And they went to go look for me.
And old tricks, sheets under the cover.
And actually, it became my out. It was like, my family would basically scolded me. Honestly, this is probably gonna be the first time, like, if my family sees the video, the podcast, it would be probably the first time that they know about this. So, because my family is just ashamed of it. It's like, why would you do that? We gave you everything possible. Why would you make that decision? And then it wasn't until I started going to therapy.
At
And
what age did you start therapy?
at 13.
13 too.
13.
Okay.
I started therapy at 13, and I was talking to the therapist. It was the second therapist I had, because it was two of them. My session with one had ended and the other one was starting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had it for like the school years, because it wasn't through the school, but it was like an agency that the school would call, because they found out that I had made suicidal attempts because my family wasn't talking to me. We were living in the same house and they were not talking to me, and I was like, what's the point of living, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until I met my second therapist when I just started realizing, like, things could have been worse. I made dumb decisions, and God is the only reason why I made it out safely. And that's when I was like, this is how I know God is real.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is a beautiful story. Well, I mean, and it's hard, but just like, thank you for having the courage to tell it. And yeah, you could definitely see God's hand all through that, and especially using your brother to like help get you out of that
And
situation.
it's so crazy and interesting because my brother always pops up whenever I'm doing something wrong.
He's like your little guardian angel, like
He is. He's always been. My brother, before my brother went off to school, he used to get me up in the morning. He used to dress me. He used to make sure I was taking my baths. He used to do everything for me. Walk me to school, walk me to daycare. Make sure, like, if he got a ride somewhere, I had a ride somewhere. Like, my brother was always my guardian. And it's kind of just interesting. He don't know how he's been that guardian, but every time I was doing something I was not supposed to do, my brother kind of popped up out of nowhere.
yo, I relate to that so heavy with my brother. But I do want to ask you though. So, do you think the reason, like when you found out his age and you found out he was lying to you, what do you think kept you like to stay as long as to the point where it got to physical and, abusive? Do you feel like you were in love with him or you just thought?
Yeah, I was. You know how, like, there's girls who kind of just make up the story in their head.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times.
It's a few of us that just kind of, we
Make
kind
up
of
our
do
own
it
romantic
la
comedy.
la la. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you always want it to be like the movies, like the TV show, like, this and that. And so it was for those reasons that I felt like I did it. Like, I wanted to be it. I wanted for that. This guy is coming out of nowhere and telling me he wants to marry me.
Mm.
He's telling me he wants to marry me. He says, important to me. And then it'll be one thing, he just flips. But I found out later he was, diagnosed bipolar.
Mm.
So that's basically what it is. It was just interesting. It was just an interesting experience.
And, given your childhood and feeling like there were moments where you wanted more protection, or you wanted your family to be there. You wanted your mom to be around more. You wanted your dad to be around more, even though it's crazy because as an adult, you realize that they were doing all that it is that they were doing to
Just
ensure
for
that you
you.
had, exactly, to ensure that you had the life that they didn't have growing
I
up.
had trips. I went out of the country. How many people you know, little black girls that you know go halfway around the world?
Exactly. And it's you have to like find the balance between, there was this somewhat emotional lack, but still they were just giving love in the way that they knew how, and they were just trying to do better based on, the experiences that they had.
I'm
How has
emotional. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, the question is, how has that shaped your identity, or the way that you, in relationships that you form now, like how has your childhood shaped that?
Oh, definitely have abandonment issues, and
Mm,
I like naturally just don't. It's not that I don't trust people,
mm-hmm,
but it takes me a while to gain a trust for somebody. I've actually like found myself getting over a few of those elements, but definitely abandonment is number one. I do not like it when people change,
mm-hmm,
or I don't like, and it's not even in a negative way. Like, I don't like it when people who went from they contacted me all the time to we hardly talking
the
to each
switch up is,
other.
yeah, it's like,
I do not like the switch up. Do
mm-mm.
not switch up on me. I'm not a big texter, granted. I ain't a big texter. Everybody knows this.
Yeah,
Everybody knows me.
Amber used to call me for things she needed to. I'm like, Amber, you could have texted me for this. Amber used to call. I'd be like,
I'm just a talk. I just love talking on the phone. Like, hey, yeah, girl. Like, it's alright, whatever. But yeah, I'm I have problems with that. I do not like it when people switch up for their own reasons, and I'm just saying, it's still a problem for me. When people just shift. Like, I understand if you change like things that you do in your life, and you say like it's because of this, it's because of that. But when you just change and you don't say nothing, it's like, why is it a problem now when it wasn't a problem a month ago? Why is it a problem now when it's a problem a week ago? Why is it a problem now when it's a problem a year ago? And it's like, sometimes I have to come to terms with it. People have, God gives us choices,
mm-hmm.
and sometimes people, people try to either do it to spare your feelings, or they're trying to go through their own personal journey. And but I definitely have abandonment, and I have problems as far as like picking up cues right away. It takes me a while because I'm so used to being by myself to realize like when people are mad, because I'm goofy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
goofy. Like, I like to say the dumb jokes, or have the dumb jokes. I don't like it when people take me too seriously. So when people like actually take my words super serious, I'm like lost. Like, wait, no one told you I'm goofy, or you
Yeah,
didn't?
like I'll be cracking up all day. But that's understandable. But thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's gonna just help anybody out there. I can definitely relate to certain aspects of your story, and how it, in adulthood, it leads you to just wanting solid foundation in all the
Yeah,
friendships that
yeah.
you have, and all the
All
relationships that you
friendships,
have. It's like it
relationships.
consistent. But you have to come to, like, you came to the terms. It's like people move on or exit out your life or go separate, the paths go separately for different reasons. And sometimes it's not because of you, it's not because of, the friendship was bad, it's not because of whatever, but it's just that, you know, that old cliche saying, some people are meant to be in your life for a season and some people are there
Yeah,
for
for
a
a
lifetime.
season.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, growing up and coming to terms with that is so hard, like accepting that some people are not going to be there forever and there are going to be certain things. And sometimes it's like your toxicity mixed with someone else's toxicity is just chaos, and you just
Yes, because I don't think people really see their toxic natures.
mm-hmm.
Like I think everybody has a little bit of toxic nature. Me,
Sure.
I like to I like the space. I like it for me to like want to be around you.
Yeah.
If I'm with you constantly,
I'm
it
gonna
kind
get
of
tired.
gets under my skin.
Mm-hmm.
I like the space because, like I said, it's another thing from childhood. Lonely, like I like the sense of, I came to terms with the sense of being alone.
Mm-hmm.
So when you just added a person in, and or people in, it's hard for me to be like, okay, well, where is my identity in this group of people?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll tend to like drift to the back when it's a group of people, or I'll take this, the passenger seat,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
But okay, so the question from that, do you feel like you've come to a place where you can let your personality, like in the beginning process of things? I know with our personality, sometimes when it's like you have a childhood where you feel like the only place where you could think or you could even have a clear set of mind is by yourself. In social situations, do you think now, like you're now coping with taking the driver's seat, being in the spotlight, or like where are you in terms of that?
When it's me and just another person, I feel like I'm good with taking the driver's seat. When it's a group, I'm like, it's best for me to take the back seat because I when I do voice my opinion, and everybody who knows me knows I like to voice my opinion. It's like I speak things into existence. Hold on, sorry. Hold on. Can we pause for a little bit?
We can pause. Let me see. Why is not need option? Never mind. So yes. Next question. What led you to taking the deep dive? What led you to want to get baptized?
It was something that like if I did it, I wanted to do it. And you know how people do their childhood baptisms?
Mm-hmm.
In my mom's church, like in order for you to get communion, you had to get baptized.
Mm-hmm.
I never got baptized when I was a kid. My mom was like, "Oh, when are you gonna get baptized?" So when I'm ready, I just never ready. And then just a lot of stuff was happening. I was trying to change my life a little bit. It's just like out of just a really weird situation, I just decided, if I don't change now, when am I gonna change?
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take the leap. Take that leap, you know? I said, I might as well just dive right in. I was like, I found a church. I liked it. It made me feel like I didn't have perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So important. That is so important.
that I feel like that's a lot of the time people run away from the church now is because, or Christianity in general, is because you always feel like you have to, your hair has to, makeup gotta be, you gotta come in your best outfit the Sabbath. You need to do all kinds of
It's like
things.
I'm not always on, fam. Like
You gotta
some
stay
days.
on your best. You're not worthy of God love, like, and that's what kind of my mom grew up like went to, and I always felt like, come on. And then my other church it was like, no, you don't have to be perfect, but like, you know, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and it's like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna sit here and fake it. I'm not doing that. I was just a work in progress. I
Come
still
on now.
work in progress. I'm not perfect, and they literally made it very clear that you don't gotta be. We want you anyways. Come in your jeans and t-shirts or whatever you feel like coming in. You know, I still get dressed up for church because that's just how I was raised. But
Mm-hmm. That's
they
that
just made it
Caribbean
clear.
upbringing.
Yeah.
Like, what you
What?
mean you go to church with jeans?
Yeah. What do you talk about?
Like,
If you don't got
where did
heels,
you grow up? What Caribbean island did you grow up? Jeans.
where you from?
That's so fact. But I let me see if I remember it. So like, do you feel it was better that you got baptized now as opposed to in your childhood? Because I asked this question to like some of my friends, and most of us got baptized when we were children, and it was like mostly because other people were getting baptized, our friends were getting baptized, and we really didn't fully know what commitment it was to get baptized and to commit your life to God. How do you feel like that you got baptized at a older age?
I feel like I understand what uh, the commitment is more
Mm-hmm.
because I waited longer. Before, I was just thinking about doing it because everybody else is doing it. But when I just took the stand, like, hey, I'm not ready.
Oh, right. So, next question. Where are you now with your spiritual walk? Like in your relationship with God and how it was from childhood up until now? Where's your faith? Where's your hope? Where does all of that lie right now?
My walk is really, really different from what it was before. I feel like it's stronger. Granted, I am not, again, I reiterate, I am not perfect. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I succumb to pressure, but I feel like it's way better. Um, God is the only reason why we're getting through school. He's the only reason why I find ways to cope. I remember I was crying every single day for the first 3 or 4 weeks of nursing school.
Mm,
It was just the worst. I felt like this is just a terrible decision. I was like, what am I gonna do? And it's like God makes me see things like differently. God is the reason why I found my friends in nursing school. You know, it's like He showed me who I should be around,
mm,
who I should, trust in many different ways. And I feel like that's the benefit of the walk that I decided to take with Him. Um, I just, I just, I find that I'm more of a giving person now.
mm,
Before I was not. I find that, I do things out of just like good intentions. I don't expect anything back. I love to support my friends and my family. You know, I know certain Christian people and, based off of the teachings of the book. A lot of the times, people are moved to let go of people who are participating in whatever kind of secular activity that they want. But I'm one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
She made it super clear to me, and she's always been a Christian since I met her. That's the thing. I never lacked Christian friends.
Mm-hmm.
Always had them. And she's always told me, she's like, the way I spread and disciple people, I've seen death in front of me. I've seen, I've been to through different trials in my life, and I've been able to overcome it. Yes, of course, everything lingers on you. Sometimes you hold the weight of things when you don't need to, and you need to let God have it. But, sometimes it lingers on. I think now is like the first time I'm actually like sleeping again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, I feel like if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be able to be where I am now.
Talk about it.
I
Talk
made it
about
through
it.
so many different situations. Like, my grandfather just passed. My grandmother passed in 2015. My Miss Joy died in August. My grandmother died in October, 5 days before my birthday, and my dog died 3 weeks after that.
Your dog died?
Yeah, Sparky died.
Mm.
So
I'm sorry for
with
all the loss that you've experienced.
that was in 2015.
Did you have another
That,
dog when we
I
were?
had 3 dogs
Oh, okay.
when I had 3 dogs when we met. Now I'm down to one.
Oof.
We had to give up Princess, but um, I'm down to one now. But what I'm saying is, with all of that, I was after that. That's when I went to the stages. We going out clubbing and all this stuff, because I only got one life to live. And I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and I'm gonna be out here and running around, having my fun, all of that stuff. And I got mixed up into the crowd. I remember one time I was drinking and I was in a club, and it just I like literally I just heard God tell me that I was supposed to be there. That I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be there. And I was like, I don't know. This is just weird. I was just like, I need to go home. And then I was trying to befriend people who were in that lifestyle.
Mm.
The girls who they're in that lifestyle. I met a girl, she driving a Lexus. Oh, we should go clubbing together, all that stuff. We finally decided to go clubbing. She's like, oh, I'm not gonna leave until the morning, till the sun's out. I'm like, what you
Oh,
mean?
we wrapped us alive.
Oh, she was about that. You know, then you hear sugar daddies and all that stuff, and then it was like, whoa, like hold on, I didn't sign up for all of this. I was just trying to go out and club and have fun or whatever. But it seems like every single time you just feel a sense of energy that's just off-putting, and
Mm.
I kept on feeling that, and that's when I decided to really just reel it in and stay to myself. And it wasn't until then, right, like before after that was when I decided to get baptized and everything. So
That is awesome. That is an awesome journey, and thank you for telling it, because I definitely agree with the point that you know, our greatest testimony, our greatest sermon that's ever going to be preached is coming from a place of, this is how I live it. Like, I don't just say I'm about it, but I am about it, you know? And I definitely feel like that is an amazing place to speak from, an amazing place to live your life for Christ, because that's really my greatest lessons in life when it comes to spiritual growth have not been through just hearing it from people, but like actually seeing them out. I'm like, okay, this person is actually consistent in this, and I'm seeing them reap rewards in this. So I'm going to, you know, live my life in this way. And so when you see people, you know, do whatever it is that is spiritually edifying, and you see them reap the spiritual rewards of that, it makes you as a Christian who's growing more inclined to want to do that thing and you know, grow as well. So definitely keep on the journey of spiritual growth, keep on the journey of, you know, just love and light and truth.
And that's what I live by. Like, I don't just shun people because they're not what the ideal person is supposed to be in the Christian standpoint, or they haven't given their life to Christ, because how do you disciple to others like that? I have had family members who have shunned the family because they were not Christian enough.
Mm,
Well, how does that like Miss Joy used to always tell me that everybody has a light, and God puts a light in everybody. And sometimes he'll use that light in you to shine it to someone else. If How am I shining the light of God if I completely close that person off?
mm,
How does that help them to see his love?
mm. No, that's very true. I definitely think there are, and I think it's different in varying situations, but we have to be willing to be a light to others on their journey. But I definitely think there are situations where we may have to love others and be a source of light to others from a safe distance for our own sake, for our own spiritual walk and path. But you are so right in that we have to be willing to put ourselves in situations or just be a light to others on their journey. Because like you said, how are they going to see, how are they going to grow if you're not willing to shine your light in dark places, willing to shine your light or show people, you know, the path to better. But you know, there's varying stories where it's for the best interest of the person to.
And that makes sense, and I understand that. Um, However, there's certain people who just completely shut the door,
Hmm,
and then there's people who will create the distance that they need for it to be healthy. And the one thing about it, I don't completely ever just shut the door on people.
hmm,
Um, that's just always been something that I've done. I don't like to completely shut the door, because you never know when that person will need you or you would need that person. And it's not even just because of that either. It's just you don't know how God can work through you.
that's very true. Don't know how God can work through you, don't know how God can work through that person. Yeah, I think in these situations it's all about, if you do decide to leave, leave in love. If you do decide to leave,
Mm-hmm.
still pray, you know, for the betterment of that person. But if you do decide to stay, keep boundaries if you do decide to stay, ensure that don't ensure that you're the one changing and not being changed, because there's this verse that says we were of the world, but we're not supposed to be changed by the world. And so ensure that you're the one imparting light and love onto people, but not, the opposite happening towards you. And that is so true. That is so very, very, very true, what you have said. So let's talk about nursing school. Let's talk about oof, that journey. I know right now it's Rona season with the nursing school, but it's on the end. We on the latter part of it. But what inspired you to want to become a nurse? What are your dreams and aspirations in regards to nursing? And like, just give me the whole journey with that career path.
Well, nursing came to me. I ain't choose nursing. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to
Come
make
on,
funky
Raven.
clothes.
Come
I
on.
wanted to make funky clothes out of jeans and stuff.
I
That's what
feel
I wanted
that.
to do. I wanted to break out the sewing machine and do something. But I just found that, like, although I am somebody who kind of like stays to myself, I find that customer service is not outside of my wheelhouse. It's something that I'm pretty good at it. I if I had to say, um, and also I just wanted to do something where I can make a difference. There's a large in South Florida, and I don't know if I'm going to start my nursing career in South Florida. Who knows? But as far as something that I've seen while in the nursing atmosphere has been like on in clinicals has been there's a large homeless population in our hospitals down here. And it's mostly people who are uninsured or just homeless, who are suffering from a lot of interesting things. I was on the trauma floor last semester. That was another big hurrah. Like, if I could tell you the stories, oh gosh. And it's just, I always like to give a voice to people who don't have one. I've always found in my personality, I would be more quick to defend someone else than to defend myself. Ask me how it makes any sense. I don't know. But I just find that I always wanted to like speak on the behalf of others, and basically I'm very, like, everybody knows I'm into politics. I keep up with politics very well. I am not leaning to one side or the other. I'm pretty much in the middle, but I am registered Democrat for certain reasons. But when it comes to healthcare and politics, it is a big problem. It's a big problem. The way that it's viewed on both sides is very interesting, and I really would think that I would go into the political realm if it has something to do with nursing, but that is still up in the air. I always talk about just different politicians who there are politicians who are nurses, and I just don't know how it would play out. I would think, I could go in that realm, but you never know. So as far as what I have planned, I do want to go into the NICU. That's the newborn intensive care unit. I do want to go in there and, after getting off of like a basic just medical surgical floor, and see what I can do there. Make a difference with them little babies.
That is so cute. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be so full of joy. Just like seeing babies come into the world day after day. I mean, sometimes there are gonna be complications, and I feel like it's gonna be so sad when, the babies are premature or have any other issues. But I feel like that's just gonna be a joyous time just to see life come into this world. Like, oh my gosh. I wish you all the best on that journey. All the best on that journey.
Thank
I
you.
was gonna do like a hashtag thing called "You Better Test It," but you already gave a couple of testimonies in here, girl. You just testified all the way
The
through
right
that
one.
thing, like everything.
Right
Testimony. So I really do appreciate you for taking the time to come here and to speak to me. And it's just amazing to have been, with you in certain moments of your life, and to just, even we haven't seen each other in a minute, but
it's been over a year.
yeah, but to, just see you out here growing and doing your thing, girl. Rooting for you.
I'm trying.
You got this. Keep going, keep going. Rely on God. He is with you. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for sharing your testimonies and your journey to Christ, and the reason why you, decided to give your life to Him and make a commitment to Him through baptism. I just really do appreciate you even talking about, certain moments in your childhood that were just pivotal for where you are now, and even difficult things that you had to experience, and people probably taking advantage of your youth and your vulnerability at that time. But look at you now. Look at you now. You here and you
I
making
always
it.
find my way.
Come on now. Come on.
That's what matters.
God is good. God is good. He definitely lights the path. And I really do appreciate you for coming on here and talking to me. And yay, first episode of Let's Talk It Out. We talked it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. And enjoy the rest of your day. And what you about to do? What you about to do?
You don't even want to know. I need to finish this project that I've been working on.
What class?
No, it's not for a class.
Oh, it's not for a class.
Myself, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Well, I wish you best whatever the project is. Best wishes on your project. And yeah, let's talk it out. First episode, Amber Rose. But let them know your real name, because I can't be calling you out. Amber Rose.
Well, I'm not going to let them know my last name. Just call me.
Do you want to tag your social media?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. Well,
I'll just be the story.
Amber. I call her Amber Rose. We know what it is.
Yes,
but,
of course.
Yeah. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Of course. Bye.